Welcome to the Three Paths Profits podcast, where we'll talk about business, finance, social media, and everything in between on our paths to profit. Three different people, three different side hustles, one common goal profit. My name is
My name
Kyle,
is Lexi.
My name is Amanda.
and we're your hosts. If you want more details about each of our side hustles, please check out our episode 1 from last week. Set the proper expectations for today's episode. Our format will be as follows. We will start today's podcast each discussing our updates from our experiences over the last week and what our goals are for the upcoming week. We'll wrap up today's podcast with a quick summary and some expectations moving forward. Let's dive in, and first we'll hear from Lexi.
Alrighty. So, kind of last week, to kind of give a brief summary on that, I started with kind of explaining my Etsy shop and then also what I was going to do to help promote it and go things along those lines. And I also wanted to talk about posting more. So, this past week, I did add a post. So, I kind of like wanted to obviously see how many posts that you have, how much more traffic it brings in. And obviously, like the more posts you have, the more traffic you're going to have in your store. Because last week I had 2 views, and this week I have 6 views and
Ooh,
five
progress.
five people to my shop. So I was really excited about that when I checked that. Obviously, I think this will depend on how many listings I have up. And I think my goal is really going to be to continuously add listings weekly or at least once a month, obviously, because it's a lot harder whenever I'm creating projects. I can't just create a project for no reason. So I want to kind of do it also if I'm like making someone something, really just anything, I'll just promote that project that I have. I did add a logo to my shop, which made me feel a little bit more put together. So I have that now. So it kind of makes me feel like I'm more professional and all that fun stuff. So I was thinking also like kind of questioning like will this make a difference to like customers like now that I have a logo rather than just like the little camera on my store whenever people like go to visit it. So again, I don't really know if this will because I can't I'm just not like I'm doing a study, so I can't have people tell me or not, but I think personally it'll make me look more put together and whatnot. So I think that would I know personally if I saw someone that had a profile or like a logo in their photo, I would think they're more trustworthy than a store that didn't have that. So, just
Agreed.
from personal experience, kind of promoting, I can't decide if I want to promote on Pinterest or if I want to promote on Etsy. I did go back into Pinterest and post one of my listings on Pinterest, so I kind of like connected the two. But you don't actually get the promotion from Pinterest unless you pay for it. So I'm kind of deciding on do I want to pay for it on Pinterest or do I want to pay for it on Etsy? Because I could pick one and then kind of maybe add the other if I'm getting like a lot of traffic from one or I'm not getting a lot of traffic from one, maybe start in the other. So I'm kind of deciding on which would be the best to start off since I don't have that many listings. And if people are on Pinterest at least and they come to my page and they don't see a lot, I'd rather them see more at a later date and promote more on Etsy to start in my mind, just because I don't want them to think I'm not a credible shop because I don't have that many listings, if that makes sense. And also kind of diving in what is the best thing to post? What's the best thing to list? Like I need to Google and do research on what people want to buy because I know like obviously this goes on with like trends and like what people like. This goes through phases. Like I know every girl seems to be obsessed with like a cup that has their name on it with like a little straw and like their glass cups and this, that, and the other. Like a lot of people like just personalize like everything that you can think of. So I guess I really have to look into what is trending and what people are like really buying that month or that week or whatever. And then go about it in that way to kind of make sure that I'm one of the people that when they search that item, I'm showing up just because that's obviously what they're going to be looking to buy. Also, I'm trying to think like what is the best number of listings to have? Is it better to I mean, obviously it's better to do it weekly, but like what is a good for sure either like once a month or if I keep making project, I'm trying to like articulate this that like I just need to find out what's a solid number to have to start to make me look more credible in my eyes. I feel like I need to have like maybe just like 10 or something to make me feel like I'm more put together in that way rather than just like an Etsy shop that has like two listings. I feel like that's just it looks a little like bare to me.
It sounds like one of your main goals and objectives is to gain credibility and trust and build like a professional looking site. And my question on that is, do you think it builds more credibility and trust to f- really promote and find a niche of products that you're going to post or projects that you're going to post? Or is it the variety of things and choices and a breadth of different things that you have going on sale that's going to boost your professionalism? What are your thoughts there?
I would kind of say a mixture of both because at the same time I'm not gonna make something just because it's not in my niche. Like if I find something that I make or if I make for someone else, I'm not just gonna not post that because that's not what I normally make. I feel like also too when it comes to personalization stuff, like that could be possibly quite literally anything. Like you can
Yeah,
make
for sure.
anything personalized.
Mhm.
So it really doesn't necessarily like I feel like my niche is personalization, whatever product that
Mm,
is. So I wouldn't necessarily say I have like a specific item or home decor. Like that's not all I'm going for. It's kind of just whatever
mm.
people want personalized, I want to make that happen.
Yeah, I think based off of your answer, which I like, I would suggest to have a like flagship product that you have one that is like something that you promote and it's like less expensive, something that's easy, something that's like good for just a random gift, a birthday, or like a friend or anything like that. That's super easy both for the customer to choose and customize and for you to make. That can be like your flagship product that you try to push and promote. And then as you find trends like you were mentioning and other things that are becoming more popular and rising in demand, that's when you start to incorporate those where you're building your niche around a singular product, but you're also allowing yourself to be flexible and have the choice of doing whatever you want because your real niche, like you said, is personalization, not necessarily the
Yeah.
product. But I think you build credibility around that personalization from that singular product and then branch from
Yeah.
there. I think that's a good idea. And then on the trend piece, I think a good place to get some market research from is like Amazon and Pinterest. Look at what best sellers are in that niche and then whatever's doing well there and your classic TikTok and Instagram and just having a toe in the market because you're a consumer on those platforms, you'll have a taste of what's going on there as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to kind of cut you off, Amanda. I know
Yeah.
you were going to say something. I feel like I kind of wanted to post the second listing that I have is like a wall decor sign that has an individual's last name and then the two names kind of flowing in the middle of that. So I was kind of thinking maybe that would be like my starting post that like I really promote that and then kind of go on the trends off of that. I could go off just like really any home decor piece if that makes sense, like use that same piece of like wood, but I could put whatever people wanted on that sign. Because again, that is a more cheaper item than again the mirror that I had, which was like $100, which was my first listing, which again, it's a great product and a great thing, but it's just not easy for everyone to either make or get.
And $100 is expensive. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
think what you're looking for is almost a product that you sell near
Yep.
cost and you don't even really necessarily make money on, at least in the
Yeah.
beginning,
Yeah.
where it's very cheap, very quick, very easy, all of those things just to get you in the door, get reviews, get purchases, get people on your site. Where once they buy that, then the next time they have something to come back to, they'll come back and buy something
Yep.
else. Especially when you're this early on, just getting traction and volume is more important than profitability or like big
Yeah.
extravagant items or anything
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think doing cups is probably the easiest route because you can get those they're like those plastic, they're not clear, they're kind of like frosted looking almost. You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Those cups that I'm sure you can get so cheap on Amazon
Yep.
and then you can just personalize them
Yeah.
or you can even get like those clear mugs that we did when we were playing around that one night,
Yeah.
stuff like that, that are very low cost to you to invest, at least to create some products to have on your website. Because from what I was hearing, and this is what I was going to say whenever um, I was about to talk a couple of minutes ago, is that it sounds like you're so far basing your posts off of what you've already naturally been making. And I know, at least in my experience, I've found that I kind of have to do more than I normally would in a day to day so that
Yeah.
I have enough stuff to post. And I feel
Yeah.
like you would probably benefit in that regard as well. You
Yeah.
kind of have to like make stuff even though you don't really have a
Yeah.
person to make it for or actual reason besides the fact that you want to post it on your Etsy shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
I love that. I love that a lot. And I just want to add one thing on that. If there are no buyers, do giveaways
yep.
and social media
Yeah.
posts around
Yeah.
such, and then ask people to promote it. Like, hey, if I give you this cup or whatever it is, will you post it on your Instagram
Yep.
and then tag
Yep.
my shop and stuff like
Yeah.
that? I think that's a good way, one, to get experience and just build the routine, like Amanda was
Yeah.
mentioning, but also start gaining brand recognition
Yeah.
and just getting
For
traction.
sure. And even like kind of Amanda, what you're saying, like the really cheap cup, you can genuinely like become an Amazon wholesaler. Like you can get those products for dirt cheap.
Oh yeah,
And to be able to like buy them in an absurd amount of quantity too for
for
that
sure.
price. So I definitely think that would probably be the way to go if I'm trying to do like a cup or whatever, because already have all the stuff to personalize it.
Right.
I just need to get the cup. So
So I obviously have never used my Cricut. So I don't know enough about it, but I've seen this one girl who has her own little side business a lot on TikTok that she makes picture magnets and she uses a different machine. It's not
yeah,
a Cricut, it's like a press down thing.
yeah.
But is there a way you could do something like that where it's like a picture?
Yes, kind of. Like you can also do stuff on like fabric. Like there's a type of material that goes onto fabric. There's different types of material that you have to buy to then put onto those different types of items.
Okay.
So you would kind of have to, it would just depend on what product I would be wanting to work with. And then I'd have to
Yeah.
go for whatever type of material I would need to gather with that.
Yeah.
But I would say definitely kind of this is back to what Kyle was talking about, like starting with like a smaller, more particular item.
More
Yeah, more
scalable.
scalable item than the mirror. I mean, I feel like I was talking about that last time too by just saying, is
Yeah.
this too big of an item to start with? And I genuinely do think it is. Granted, I love it, but again, it's too much of a tall order for people to be like, yeah, I want to spend $100 right now because
Well, and it's a lot to put on you because if someone orders it, like really you should have it already to
yeah,
start making it and
exactly. Yeah,
that sense you would have to put up the money to buy the mirrors to have in stock at your house. So that would just put more on you in that regard too.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, so kind of to wrap up mine, I would say my goal if for moving forward is to really again find that product that I want in whether that be cups or whatever, something small that I can get in large quantity to kind of really start making different things out of it, posting different types of designs or whatever to kind of go off of. And then if I don't get traction, kind of do the giveaway thing like Kyle was talking about, or just to kind of see what works best in that regards on moving forward from there. But
I love
yeah.
it.
Good stuff. Sounds like you're making good progress
Mhm.
and keep rolling.
Wait, before Kyle
That's
goes,
cool.
you gotta do you have Instagram or anything for that account that you want to shout out?
No, but I do
Or
have
I guess
my
just the name of your Etsy shop
yeah,
at
my
least.
Etsy shop. It's Anything Cricket Co.
Go look her up.
All right. So I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to kind of start talking about the account setup process. I did that this past week and it was honestly a lot. There's a lot of steps, a lot of disclosures, a lot going on there. IBKR Interactive Brokers is the site that I'm using. And honestly, I'm pretty impressed with them so far. It's got everything you need and more. They have a desktop trading platform that is amazing. It has everything that you need. They also have a good a web browser page that has just a lot of content on there, a lot of good stuff. I've spent a lot of time playing around on there. And in my account setup process, there were two different options of an account type that you can set up. There's the IBKR Lite or the Pro. And basically, it's just for beginners or more experienced traders. And because I have some experience, I went with the Pro, mainly because they have different benefits, but you're allowed to do more things with the Pro account, specifically with options trading, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I felt it was more appropriate to go with that one. Both are the same price; they're both free to set up. So I just went with that one. During the process, it's all the standard stuff: putting in your name, your address, birthday, social security, employment. It's like a full application it's pretty in depth. They ask a lot of questions, a lot of personal information. There's a lot that goes into setting up the account. Just doing that alone took a while. And then you also have to choose, in addition to difference between the light and the pro account, you have to choose a cash or a margin based account, which means a margin based account is something where you have a certain dollar amount invested. Like I'm going to invest $1,000. You can actually trade with more than that and have access to more funds by trading on the margin. And I won't really get into this too much because I'm not planning on using it, but it's a way to increase your leverage and take advantage of more opportunities when you see them develop in real time. I'm going to be doing more of not necessarily minute or day trading exactly, but more swing trading and momentum trading. So I don't necessarily need that or want that. So I'm just using a cash account. I will be equally leveraged of how much cash I have in there is how much I'm going to be able to invest. That's the only important thing to note there. Trading experience and account level. Even once you get past there, there's another choice to be made and another choosing of what account type you're going to set up. And there's one, two, three, and four. Three and four were only available to if you're going to be using a margin account. So I was choosing between one and two, and one had all of the ones that I wanted. Two had a couple that I would be interested in using in the future. I actually tried to apply for the second one, and based off my years of experience that I have in options trading, they said I didn't qualify. So I do give them credit. There is some verification process that they have that doesn't allow you to go in more than you're ready for, or at least they're qualifying you to be ready for. So I'm on the basic level. It allows me to do long calls, long puts, basically all the simple options trading strategies that I'm familiar with, which is fine to start. And then there were so many agreements and disclosures. I was reading for hours. I have a whole folder of like 25 different agreements and disclosure documents that are all pages long. And I didn't read every word of every single one, but I read a lot. It's just all your standard stuff, but I wanted to do my due diligence and read most of it, as I think most people should, whereas most times people just hit the agree or click
Yep.
to accept and stuff like
Every
that,
time.
Yep.
which is, yeah, I've done it too. But with something like this, I wanted to see what I was getting into. So I dug a little deeper. Nothing out of the ordinary. It all seemed pretty straightforward with the other accounts that I've used in the past and things like that. And then the IBKR mobile app is something that I also downloaded. So you can trade from like an iPad or a computer or desktop that you don't have your desktop platform set up on. So it's very mobile. Like I can trade on your guys' computers, your iPhone, your anywhere that you have access to the internet, you can make the trades. And then I'll also have the app on my phone, which is nice for quick access. I can make trades on the go. And then there's also that more in depth software platform that you actually download to your desktop that is the most presentative and has the most information and functions on it. So that's probably what I'll use the most, but it is nice to have those other options. So that was kind of the summary of the account setup process. Like I said, it was a lot more than I was expecting, but it was a good
Yeah,
process so far, and I enjoyed
that's
the experience.
crazy how different it is from like a Robinhood.
Yeah, because Robinhood is much more for retail traders who have less
Yeah.
experience. They don't even they don't even have the capabilities or the functionality to provide you with the other trading strategies that IBKR has. So they don't have to put you through all those extra loops
Yeah,
and
I can't
things.
remember all what I had
Because,
to do, but I feel like it took me like 5 seconds to sign up.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
it takes about 5 minutes to sign up for
I mean,
Robinhood.
I feel like even like what Kyle was saying though, that based on his experience, which is a lot of experience in it, he
For
didn't even
sure, yeah.
qualify for level 2. So it's like clearly like that just shows how big of a next step it is above
How
Robinhood.
how do you
I put 6 to 10 years.
how do
I
you
mean, I've been
justify
trading
that
since,
experience, though? It's not like you've had an actual job,
yeah, I I could have put,
because that's why, like, maybe they didn't accept you because, like, it's not like you worked for a firm or whatever doing this.
yeah, but they didn't even ask any of that because I said I had 6 to 10 years of investing and trading
It's like, we
experience,
know you
and I
do
said I had
because
about.
we know how much you read about it and talk about it and have done it for all the years, but how when you did the application, how would they know that you actually
They didn't ask for any. They didn't ask for any
Hmm.
proof.
Yeah, that surprises me that they didn't say like, "Oh, do you want to hook up like your Robinhood account or show me
Yeah,
like what investment?"
maybe they have a way to, yeah, just see behind the scene. They would have to, I would think.
I mean, with your social security number,
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
that they do.
Maybe that. Yeah, I don't know, but I think it was more. I put 4 years for options trading
Mhm.
experience, and I think that's probably what dinged me from
Hmm,
getting the upper levels of the access. Because 4 years is a lot to us, but that's not a lot in
right.
the long term scheme of things. So, I mean, I've been investing since 2017, which is like 7 years now, and I've been trading options since like COVID 2020. So I have like 4 years of experience of that. I'm not sure if that'll change or when I'll be able to do the other levels. So, but yeah, it is kind of wild how in depth they are with their qualifying
It's
process.
good, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
like a long process, but in the end, I mean, it's they're letting you know what you're getting into.
and it's a very impressive company. They're actually publicly traded, so I could trade their stock on their platform.
That's
Hmm,
cool.
Actually, um, they do have a very good business model, and they provide a ton of value. Like I'll get into here in a little bit, they have free online courses, like trading glossaries, just for even like very beginner level people who just want to get familiar with the terminology, the lingo, anything that you want to learn, you can pretty much learn it on their website. And honestly, you can learn as much as I learned in my 4 year college degree on this website, and that it's all free. And they
that's pretty
provide
much how
that at
everything is
no
nowadays.
Yeah, I
cost.
mean, I swear
Yeah,
college degree is going down less and less.
agreed. Anyway, I'll get into my overall strategy and outlook here moving forward. Haven't made any trades yet because I literally just got the account set up. But my strategy overall, like I mentioned, is going to be swing trading and momentum trading. So what I mean by that is similar to like what Lexi talked about with what is trending. That's kind of how I'm going to be making trades, mostly on a week to maybe a couple of months basis. So I'll be buying contracts that have expiration dates from a day out, a week out, to multiple months out, maybe even a year out, depending on the volatility that I'm seeing, what kind of macroeconomic conditions are existing. And those two things are what I'm going to be looking at, the macro versus the micro. So, what I mean by that is the macro is like economic news from the Federal Reserve. Micro news is the company's earnings call. So what they posted for a financial quarter. And then like another macro example is like geopolitical landscape. What's going on with Russia? What's going on in the Middle East? All those things impact the markets and market sentiment as a whole, which impact the individual securities as well. And then a micro version of that would be a company article where they posted, hey, we're releasing a new product. Hey, we're having this type of news day or something like that. So all of those things impact price action. And I'll be combining both of those considerations into my trading strategy, looking at both what's the overall macro trends going on with the whole market, but then singularing, getting in on one or two equities and what their specific micro situation is, and how they're performing, what news articles are out, what the market sentiment is on them specifically as well for me to make those trades. So that's kind of like the overall outlook and strategy. And how I'm going to get all that information is from multiple different news outlets and information sources. So, number one is probably CNBC. I watch Squawk Box, Squawk on the Street. Those are morning television net or
Squawk what?
series. Squawk on the Street and Squawk Box. They go on every morning and they talk about what's going on in the day, what
It's
economic
quite the
news is
name.
getting released. Yeah, they've been around for a long time, and it's quite the show. They have a lot of good guests, and it's really popular. Anybody who's a trader or investor is very familiar with their
I mean, hey,
stuff.
the name will get you
So
talking.
that's
That is true.
yep. So yeah, I watch a lot of that. That's kind of the macro piece. They do go into stuff on individual companies, but it's more from a macro perspective. And then I use Yahoo Finance. That's probably my most used because I like the user interface the best. I know how to work it the best. And then I use Seeking Alpha is another good one. That's probably my second most used. It has the most analytical and probably the most information that I've found from a specific, like more of a micro base. Like if I want to really dig deep on a company, Seeking Alpha is where you want to go to get all their financials, all their news articles, all the even comments and posts about individual contributors are saying about it. That's where I go for that. And then some other ones to mention are like Bloomberg, which is like an international site. And then Robinhood, which I get some news from, not really, but there's some tidbits on there. And then the IBKR website, which has email updates. I've already been getting those. Those are super awesome. It's things to look out for the day, different trends that they're picking up, all kinds of good stuff and ideas. They have in-app updates where on their dashboard it has so it's super cool. Like these are the courses that I mentioned here. It has literally everything that you want on here, financial courses, financial news, literally everything, teaching and training, even a glossary. They have a bunch of podcasts of their own. So much cool stuff and free information on here. And then this is kind of the dashboard here. Stuff on stocks, bonds, futures, all this good stuff. And it's really just insane the amount of time you can spend on here and get good valuable information. So this is definitely a big thing that I like to look at. And then I'll also just show the other ones here.
I have a quick question while you're like doing that. So, if they're
Sure.
able to give you all of this information and everything for free, what is their main way that they
Hmm.
make the money off of that?
So when you make trades, they get commission.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a commission based
and
model.
that's completely it? Like, that's all they make the money off of? How is their structure
Yeah.
base? Like, how much money do they get per trade? Sorry, I know nothing about this. I'm just trying to.
No, you're good. It's a good question. So this is the difference between the IBKR Lite and the IBKR Pro for US exchange stocks and ETFs. That's like if you wanted to buy a share in Snapchat,
Okay.
it would be commission free. So that means it's payment for order flow. They're not going to charge you any dollar value for
Okay.
that versus the Pro version does have a fixed or tier pricing to it. Depends on which ETF or equity it is specifically. And that's here nor there, honestly. But it's basically it depends on what it is and how much you're buying for how much the commission's going to
Okay.
be. So I don't know exactly what it is because I haven't made any trades and I haven't tried to make any trades. So I'm not exactly sure, but I'll update you guys on that in the
Cool.
future. So this was a good site to look at which plan was best and compare the two. And then I'll just show you Yahoo Finance, Seeking Alpha, and Bloomberg here real quick. This is what Bloomberg looks like. Everything on the markets, economics, industries, tech, politics, business week. Ton of good stuff on here. Bunch of good articles to read. Basically, from an international perspective, this is where most of the content gets published. And then this, Seeking Alpha is probably my favorite. This has like, so this is a portfolio that I have. I've used this for a while. These are all tickers that I'm interested in and I like to keep track on. So here's Snapchat, Blackstone, DraftKings, Tilray, Robinhood, JP Morgan, Blackstone. This is a bond ETF, and Uber has a bunch of financial data here. And then you can look at so many different characteristics of your portfolio. Then you have your latest news articles, warnings, transcripts, press releases, general news about the economy, and you can sort based off cryptocurrency, dividends, energy, any different parameter that you want to search based off of, you can here. And that's why I just think it's super useful. And then Yahoo Finance, I like to look at the economic calendar on Yahoo Finance. So this tells me I'm looking at March 4th, which is next Monday when I'll be making my trades. And so you get to see which country is producing which economic indicator on that date and time. It's honestly too many on here to actually consider. I usually filter it for the United States because that's the main one that I care about because I trade US equities. But you can literally look at every country's financial and economic data as they come out and when they're going to come out. And these are all those macro trends that I was talking about, what influence the market as a whole and on the individual basis of what stocks I'm going to be trading.
It's like
So
information
those are the main
overload.
sites.
Yeah, I like had no idea that that
Yeah.
calendar existed.
There's just a
Yeah.
lot of resources. I would be overwhelmed with the amount of different places to look for information at that point.
A lot of them have the same stuff. It's a lot of repetitive stuff. You go on Seeking Alpha, you're going to see a lot of the same articles on Bloomberg. You're going to see a lot of the same articles on Yahoo Finance. That's why I kind of use them for different
But
things.
do a lot of them like contradict each other, or is it all mostly the same thing? Because if they started contradicting each other, I'm all over the
Yeah,
place
then
then.
what the heck am I
Like,
supposed to do? Yeah.
It's not them necessarily contradicting themselves or each other because they're just like a platform where things post to, right?
okay,
Like it's almost like a social media
that
site
makes
where
sense.
like things just get posted there to then be interacted
Yeah.
with. So like different articles contrast with each other, no doubt. You'll have an article get posted to Yahoo Finance that says the the boom in the market going to continue, like it's going up and up, hitting a new record high. Then the next article right below it will say market sentiment scared, ready for a pullback next week. Like
Yeah.
it is that contradicting, but it's good to see those and read those different points of view. But those are all my information sources and where I get a lot of my information. Anybody who wants to check them out can. You guys should play around and take a look and see what you guys think if you have some time. Some next steps for me personally for our next episode and the next week here. I'm going to be doing basically everything I just kind of walked you through, all that information overload. That's what I'm going to be processing and sifting through over the next week to engage with the market sentiment, what the temperament is out there for what people think is going to be happening based off those economic news publishings and the specific companies I'm looking for. I'm also going to be making some paper trades in the meantime before I make my first official trade, which basically just means I take a look at something that I want to buy and I write it down in my journal at the price and time. And then when I would want to sell it, I would write that down. So it's a paper trade where it simulates how it would actually perform, just to get some mental practice of when and why and how much I want to buy and try to execute. And then just taking a look at the economic calendar, picking some things I want to trade around, finally get my account approval set up, which is done now, and just get some money in there and start mapping out my first trades. And then ultimately, I hope to make my first trade before next episode, but I might only be reporting on paper trades. We'll see based on how I feel on Monday, since it's already Wednesday and I haven't had a full week to really dive into things and prepare. But hoping to make the first trade on Monday, but I will keep you posted on that. And then I'm just going to be keeping a record and journal on all of this. I'm going to keep track of every single trade that I make and also include a why and a description of why did I do that? Was it a good trade? Was it profitable? Would I do it again? And like kind of what did I learn from that trade? So that'll be something that I'll always review back on and touch base on as well. So, to summary, goals for next week: make the first trade, make some paper trades, and ultimately just get started. So that's kind of the goals for next week. And yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome.
Making paper trades, I think, is progress in itself. So if you don't get
Yeah.
to the first trade, you don't get to it. Though it'll be there for the next week.
I do have a question on, so say like I was starting out, I just made an account with them. I clearly know nothing. How long, like how much per day do you think I should like be looking into the different like articles in the news places that you're saying that you're going to be looking into? Like clearly you're going to be looking into them a lot more than I would, but for someone who like knows nothing to kind of start out, what do you think would be a good time, I guess, to do that?
I'd say 5 minutes a day. I mean, in 2017, when I first started, I really only used Robinhood, and Robinhood is very limited in the amount of information that it actually provides. It's mainly just a investing platform. It's not really for publishing and consuming
Yeah.
information. So back then, I was really just reading what articles were available and what I would hear and see. And honestly, CNBC is awesome. So I usually watch from like 6 to 8 a.m. I either put it on a podcast that I listen to, or I put it on my phone and watch it on YouTube TV. I think that's really good because if you don't know what you're looking for, that's something that they just give you general information and knowledge and tidbits and gets you familiar with the lingo and things. So that's probably what I would recommend. But if you really only have like 5 minutes and you just want to start dipping your toes in, just typing in yahoofinance.com, seeing what articles are on the first page.
Okay.
Maybe click on one and read some highlight
Okay.
points. That's pretty much all I did to start. You're going to be kind of like you said, overwhelmed with information overload, but it's just taking it, just consequential logins and reading it and getting familiar with the terminology and all that. Then you'll start to know what the patterns are and what you're looking for and just get some experience
Yeah.
around that.
All right. Well, I want to start by just going over some stats on my page. And then I literally kept a notepad all week and just random thoughts and observations and stuff I wrote down. So forgive me if I'm kind of all over the place, but it's just a bunch of random things that I've experienced that I want to change in the future, just stuff like that. It's just all kind of random. But first, I did stick to my goal of posting once a day. So I have 7 TikToks posted. They're all food videos. Most of the view range is like 50 to 80 views. My one video, what was that? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday got 349 views. So I was proud of that.
Ooh.
And then yesterday's, I posted a video of this little cookie that I make. It's like a healthy cookie. And the one person that commented was like a workout person. Like her account name is Fit Body by Nikki. So I thought that was really cool that someone that is super into fitness liked my recipe.
Heck yeah.
Likes wise, it says I have a total of 54 likes and 13 followers, of which only 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, 4 of the 13 are people that I don't know. Most of them are my friends, so shout out to you guys. one of them being me, my personal account. But hey, I'm proud of myself for sticking to the one a day. I have a lot more actually already seriously edited and ready to go. Last week I talked about how I had like a bunch of stuff already ready to go and I was just completely wrong. Once you actually start to edit to a point where you're wanting it to be post ready, it's totally different than when you're just like editing and messing around kind of thing. And even just after a week of creating to post, there's now so many things that I'm like, I'm not posting that one. There's no way because you're starting to be like, no, that video would be shit, you know? But the editing features within the TikTok app are actually incredible. It is so easy to edit videos. There's so many cool features. At first, before I actually started to post this past week, like the past month or two, whatever, whenever I've been editing videos, I was doing some of the editing process just within the Photos app. So I was like cropping videos and stuff like that. But the features within the TikTok app, you don't have to do any of that. You literally just dump whatever pictures, videos you want to be in your video in there. There's so many tools that make snipping videos. You can split it into two parts. So you can put part of this video here. You can remove a middle part if you want and just have like the beginning of that short little clip and the end of it. It's just really, really user friendly. And for someone that's starting out, I wouldn't recommend trying to use any other app besides TikTok to edit your video because personally, I have tried in the past, not recently, but in years past, I used to make videos once a year of just like all videos and pictures from my life that year. And I've used different apps for that. And none of them even come close to actually being how good TikTok is now. And TikTok wasn't always like that because I remember what it used to be and it was not nearly as great as it is now. I have zero complaints when it comes to all the features and the editing aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Um,
whenever I went through my phase of like
yeah,
posting TikToks and stuff, like the editing was not that great.
it,
It was just like kind of
yeah.
like hope that your videos work together that you took like 7 tries of.
Well, and so before I decided that I was going to make a separate account versus my personal one for this, I had made a bunch of drafts on my personal one and I didn't realize that my app was just very outdated. It hadn't been updated. And so then I updated it and that's when all the updates came over and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is so nice.
Yeah, that's
Why
nice.
have I not been using this for like yeah." So it can't say enough good things about that. Through creating videos this past week have definitely learned kind of the style of video that I enjoy making and kind of what kind of clips I need to be better at, what kind of clips I need to make sure that I get when it comes to actually making a video. For example, one of the things that I notice I need to improve on is the cover photo aspect of it. I'm really good at capturing all the details of the steps within cooking something, but when it comes to making sure you get a really good quality picture, video, whatever you want it to be at the end, I need to be better at that. So just within a week of creating videos, you learn a lot of those little things. And creating an actual caption on your cover photo that goes with it. That's one other thing that I was not doing, that it just is way more aesthetic looking on your page when you actually have that.
Makes
Um,
people want to click on it.
yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Like, look, I'll show you. Look how good these are my drafts. Sneak peek for I have the first 6 parts of my kitchen reno. But like look how aesthetic those look.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So good. Anyways, let me put my phone down and go back to my random notes. So, in terms of Instagram, I made the Instagram account as well to match with my TikTok, but I didn't post single thing on it. So, this next week, one of my goals is to be better about also posting on Instagram. I'm not really sure how I want to go about doing that, if I want to post the same video or if I want to make my Instagram more of pictures and then say, if you want the full recipe, go to my TikTok kind of thing. So I need to decide exactly how I want to utilize my Instagram first, but that's definitely something that I want to be better at in the coming weeks. The couple of different things that I've seen on TikTok for tips for how to get your video to go viral or whatever you want to call it. People talk about time of day. I haven't noticed a difference of time of day. The only thing that I've noticed within myself is that I want to make sure I have a video edited and ready to go the day before, because a lot of the ones that I posted this week, I edited and then posted right away. And it's a lot whenever you work, you come home, you work out, you make dinner, and then you're like, oh crap, I got to sit down and I got to finish editing this. And finally, yesterday, actually the last 2 days, I sat down and just grinded out all that editing. And it's so nice because, like, today, I had the video ready to go. So while I was at work, I was like, okay, caption it real quick, post, I'm done. You know what I mean? So I wasn't on a time constraint tonight where wasn't like, oh crap, I got to edit it because I don't want to post it super late at night. Not that I think time of day really has an impact, but I didn't want to post it right before I went to bed kind of thing either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A couple other things that I saw in some videos. One person was saying that her following grew exponentially when she was engaging with the community that she was trying to post towards for like 10 or 15 minutes beforehand. So, like, if I go to the different people that I follow that make cooking videos or DIY videos and comment on their videos, like their videos, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Amanda,
Yeah.
do you have the book that I gave you?
Yes, I haven't started reading it, but yes.
No, not the one that I got you from Amazon. The by Gary V. Crushing It, the yellow one that I sent
Yes.
back with you when you were here.
Yes.
Read it. Read it. Everything that you're saying is all detailed in so many different ways for every single different platform that you could possibly think of in that book.
Okay.
Shout out Gary V. Shout out Crushing It. Great book for anyone who is in the social media
I do like
space.
Gary Vee.
Read
I
it.
know who Gary Vee is. Um,
That's who wrote the book.
Just to
yeah,
kind of go
okay.
back on what you were saying, Amanda, though, about Instagram and like
Mhm.
whether you're deciding on whether you want to put like videos or just like pictures on there. And like obviously like click to TikTok if you want to see the full thing. I feel like maybe a mixture of both because whenever I'm seeing things on Instagram and I see like just a picture, I feel like I'm like, well, I want the full video. Or
Yeah.
like sometimes like it's like kind of a hassle to go to a different social media page whenever you're already on one.
Yeah, when it says like click link in the
Yeah, I'm
bio,
like, I'm
like
not going to click your link in your bio. So
Well,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
and I was kinda just brainstorming last night thinking about it, and I was like, "Okay, maybe I do, like, a once a week post where it's pictures and it's just a photo dump, like,
yeah,
everything I ate this week, where it's just a picture dump of all of it,
yeah,
and then also sprinkle the videos in there."
yeah,
So, that was my idea that I came up with. I don't know, we'll see what I end up deciding, but
yeah. I mean, I would definitely, I like that idea. I feel like it's like a mixture, but you're also
yeah.
like, you're giving a little bit. And like, if they clearly want more, they'll go to your TikTok page and be able to see everything fully.
Yeah, and I know there's the stories feature now on
Yeah.
TikTok. I feel like I don't actually don't know that I know how to watch people's stories on TikTok. So maybe I should get into using that, but my other thing with Instagram is I feel like Instagram is a way to get more personal with people when you
Yeah.
post stories and you ask question boxes and you're like, what should I cook? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely would like to use Instagram in that regard. Obviously, I don't have any followers to ask those questions to yet, but
Yeah.
I think Instagram could be utilized a lot in that sense. So I
Yeah.
would like to start using it for sure.
think when me and Lexi used to do TikTok videos all the time, it was crazy how like the consistency mattered
Hmm.
more than the quality.
Mhm.
And Gary Vee talks about this a lot in Crushing It, where like we almost get perfection paralysis, where you want the video to be so good and you spend so many hours editing when you should really just post the thing, like just post it and just post it so you can get on to the next videos that you can post
Yeah.
it. And like you'll just naturally get better and better and better. Where we were getting 7 views on like our first or on our first
Yeah.
videos that we posted. And
Yeah.
like it just like
It's
after a
it's
while,
hard
then
though
like
because I'm
one
such
thing
a perfectionist in work and everything. So it's hard to
I could hear it while you were going on. I was like in my head, even contradicting myself, where like I'm really like proud of you that you're posting it once a day, even though you're like wanting it to be perfect. And I know how much time you're putting into each one. But I also at the same time am critical. Like, why aren't you posting like 3? Like, they don't need to be perfect. Just post
So
the thing.
the
Like,
reason why I'm sticking to one a day is because I won't have enough content if I post 3. I as one
mm,
person living by myself, I if I cooked that much food, I would have so
yeah,
much food that I'd be throwing in the trash.
Yeah.
As it
that's
is,
fair.
like back to when I was talking to Lex earlier, I feel like I'm cooking already more than I normally would. Like this weekend, for
Mhm.
example, is one of my last weekends before I have a lengthy period of time where I'm traveling every weekend in a row. And weekends are truly where I get to have fun in the kitchen. You know, on a weekday, I have my meal prep for lunches, I have my meal prep for breakfast, and I typically don't eat anything fun for dinner. Like tonight, I had chicken and that was it. So, not having weekends at home, I feel like I have to load up on content. Like this weekend, I'm planning on making 5 to 7 different things so that I can load up on content to have it so that in the upcoming weekends when I'm not here, I'm not getting behind. You know what I mean? If I was posting 3 a day, I would have so much wasted food. And I totally am for doing more than what I need to create content, but that would be to a point where it'd be way overkill.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I still think even posting one a day though is still really
yeah,
getting like your page out there either way.
For
Because
sure. And I like the one a day is better than posting 7 in one day and
right,
then not posting for 7
exactly,
right,
days. Yeah,
exactly.
right.
You're
with
being
Yeah,
you.
consistent
I'd
whether
rather
or not.
have yep.
Yeah.
And so all of mine this past week were all food. I think this next week I'm going to do all of my kitchen videos. So it's going to be in 8 parts. I have 6 of the 8 already edited. So I have
Oh,
most of the week already done. So we'll see how that changes, if there's more views, less views kind of thing. It'll be interesting to see. And I'm also not really sure if in the future, this week I want to post them all in a row, I think. But in the future, if I should kind of do more of an alternating kind of thing where I do a recipe cooking video one day, DIY project the next day, or if I have 4 parts to a DIY project, if I should stick to doing that all in a row, or if it'll make more people want to watch it if I make them hold out an extra day kind of thing. So I don't know. I'll have to see how this week goes. I am going to post those ones at least all in a row and see how that goes from there.
I mean, I definitely feel like holding out does a lot because I know like the minute I like see a video and I'm intrigued in it, I know there's going to be multiple parts. I immediately go to their page and I look for that other
Yeah.
part. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I
Yeah,
get pissed whenever it's not there and I wanted to see it,
yeah,
but I'm
Yeah.
still like, I'm going to like that video. And occasionally when I get bored and I think about it, maybe I'll go back and look at the other part.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I feel like too, as a consumer side of TikTok, when I watch a full part of something, it typically makes it so that the next part will come back on my For You page.
Yeah.
So that's one of my hopes too, is that if I do multiple parts and someone watches all of part 1, hoping that that makes it so because they watch part 1, I show up again on their For You page and
Yep.
it automatically gives them part 2 without them necessarily following. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that happens with me a lot with like home reno like videos that I
Uh-huh.
watch on TikTok. I swear, like they'll be like, "Come back for part 2," and like I go on their page, it's not there, so I'm like, "Whatever," and then the next day I'm like, "Oh my god, there's part 2."
Yeah. One other thing that I just thought of that I saw someone post, and I've been trying to keep this in mind. I don't know that it really made any difference. Is when you're picking your hashtags to put in your caption,
Mm,
depending on how many followers you have, that depends on which captions are good for you. So, like the guy was talking about, if you have under, I think it was 5,000 followers or something like that, you shouldn't be clicking on a hashtag that has more than 100,000 uses because, for example, if I pick one that has 4 million uses, it's going to get completely lost in the For You page because people that have way more of a following than I do, their videos are going to populate way sooner than mine are. So I am kind of trying to be aware of that and be purposeful with which hashtags I choose in that sense. I don't know that it's making any difference, but that is one tip that I learned that I'm trying to follow as well.
I mean, if you're consistent with
I
that,
think engaging.
sorry, go
Go ahead,
ahead.
Lex.
I was just gonna say, like, if you're, I feel like if you're consistent with that and like being mindful of what hashtags you use, I feel like it'll
Mhm.
go a long way in the long run.
Yeah.
I think engaging with your community is the most important part. I know that when me and Lexi had success on TikTok, it was directly correlated with how many comments I responded to, how many comments I made on other people's
Yeah.
posts, how many times I sent it to
Mhm.
people. All of that stuff is the most important, I think. Like the more you go on to other cooking people's stuff or other DIY people's stuff and just comment nice or fire emoji or literally anything on as many people as you can, but also get some like actually thoughtful posts in there too, like ones that you actually really interacted with. Make a nice post on it that's going to stick out and draw attention to. Um, that's going to generate a lot of traction for
Yeah.
you, and I think that's probably
Yeah.
the most important part for you is engaging with that community and your desired
Yeah.
audience.
Also,
It was yeah, go ahead.
sorry, this is like not to be like a Debbie Downer because like that's not what I'm trying to do, but like if someone is negative, are you going to like delete it, answer it, ignore it? Like because people are rude as hell. Like
Good
let's just
question.
be like completely truthful with that. So, how are you going to
Uh,
react to a negative comment?
I feel like I don't have an answer yet. When the time comes, I'll figure out what I want to do. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've only had the one comment from the fitness lady and it made me really happy.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, just because I hear so many people that like get so many
yeah,
comments on their posts like talk about like how they go into like a spiral about it.
people are ruthless for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, and
And it's
especially
all
behind a
because they're
screen.
behind it. Yep. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yep. Yeah. So, just a thought.
But I had so much fun, honestly, editing the videos. The last 2 nights, the all the parts that I edited for the kitchen one, I think I probably spent 3 plus hours both nights just sitting on my phone editing. It it is fun. If nothing else, it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's what matters. Like as long as like you're enjoying it,
Yeah.
you're getting something out of it regardless.
Yeah, and it's cool, I think, too, just to have kinda like we talked about with this podcast as kinda just documenting our progress.
Yeah.
It's kinda cool to just have those videos to look back on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To remember the process, to remember the different things I made,
Yeah.
stuff like that,
It's
so
really like look at your before and afters rather than looking at someone else's.
Mhm.
All right. I think that does it for today's episode. So, we want to thank you guys for listening to our podcast, and we encourage you to leave comments and questions to help us improve moving forward. We will be posting episodes every Friday, so stay tuned and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any episodes or any important updates from us. If you enjoyed the podcast today, please tell a friend or family member. We would really very much appreciate that. Also, be sure to check out our social media pages, TikTok and Instagram at 3.path.profits. And we appreciate all of your support, and we'll catch you next week.
Oh, and my TikTok and Instagram are cookin.depot without the G, cookin.depot. Forgot to say that.